Hey bike fans, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Yuba's brand new Boda Boda electric cargo bike. Yuba's been in the cargo bike game for at least 15 years, and I say that because 15 years ago when we opened, Yuba was one of the very first cargo bike brands that we brought in with their Mundo Longtail, which they still offer today as both a non-electric and electric. And it wasn't very long after that, maybe a year or two after that, that they introduced the Boda Boda, which to my mind might have been the very first midtail style cargo bike. I'm sure someone will correct me, but I'm gonna maybe throw props to Yuba that they maybe invented the midtail cargo bike with the original Boda Boda. That bike was super cool back in the day. It's actually really similar in a few key design elements to today's model, though things have definitely improved since then. So join me as we dive into a review of Yuba's very cool brand new Boda Boda electric cargo bike. All right, so first off, when we're looking at the Yuba Boda Boda here, the first thing that'll probably catch your eye is the frame design. And when we're looking at the frame design, you can tell it's very perhaps overbuilt, but for a reason. Yuba describes what they're doing here with their frame design as stay steady technology. Essentially, what they've done is to design the bike in such a way that you won't have any twisting forces happening on the bike when you've got a max load happening on the back, or perhaps a couple of wiggly kids rolling around back there. The original Boda Boda was pretty much a wet noodle when you put some load on it, though it was very light. This bike is not at all the same in that regard. It is really capable and feels super solid underneath you when you're riding it. So when the bike is unloaded, it perhaps presents itself as a fairly stiff bike. That stiffness feeling is moderated with the suspension fork on the front, which we'll talk about in a bit. And if it was me and I was going to be riding this bike a lot, I would probably add a suspension seat post to it, just to add a little bit more comfort. Speaking of the suspension, up front there's an SR Suntour Mobi fork with 80 mils of travel. It also has lockout, and it's an air sprung fork, so you can really tune how the fork will feel under your weight and how you want it to react. There's also rebound adjust at the bottom of the fork, which allows you to tune the fork even more. One thing that's been amazing about Yuba's bikes from the very beginning has been their accessory program and the ability for Yuba owners to outfit their bike for different stages of their life. So perhaps you don't have kids now, but you want a really capable commuter bike, grocery getter, errand runner, kind of lifestyle car replacement machine. You know, as is, maybe you just add some of Yuba's big bags on the side and you're good to go. Then down the road, maybe some kids come along and you need to start moving some kids around. You can add a couple of seats on the back here, and as they grow up, you can take the seats off and add rails. Yuba's got a really amazing collection of accessories for all of their bikes, and would put it in the top of the class amongst cargo bike brands on the market, in that there's accessories for really everything that you could be doing with this bike over many years of use. Wheels on this bike, wheels and tires on this bike are 26 inch by 2.35, so that's a nice wide cushy tire. 26 inch is a really nice size. It rolls really well over most bumps. There is lots of tire availability, so depending on the type of tires that you're wanting to put on this bike, there's lots of choices in the marketplace. The new bike comes shod with Schwalbe's cargo bike specific pickup tire, which is a pretty stiff tire, but that's actually on purpose, and on a cargo bike it feels really good, offers a really nice road hold, and I would describe this tire as a 3-season tire. It's not really great in the winter, but Schwalbe also makes amazing 26-inch winter tire options if you are planning on riding year-round. The drivetrain that comes standard on the bike is Shimano's Q's 10-speed with a really wide range. Looking at the cassette, it looks to me like we're looking at an 11 to probably 48. So that's going to offer really, really low gear, which will get you up really any hill that you're going to encounter when you're out doing your things in the city. Braking duties are handled by Magura's super powerful brake system with, it looks like a 4-piston setup on the front with a big 2-piston setup on the back. The bike itself comes with Bosch's top of the range smart system cargo line motor with a 500 watt-hour battery, which is inside the frame, and their simple Purion display. Display they provide, it doesn't have a screen, though it is something that you can very easily purchase as an add-on if you wanted to, or you could go without if you want. What it does show is the power assist level that you're currently running, as well as how much battery charge you've got left in your bike. Touch points on the bike are really nice. You've got basically a mountain bike style aluminum flat pedal, pretty decent saddle with a handle at the back here, so that's easy to pick the back end of the bike up if you're maneuvering it around. And ergonomic grips from Herman's on there offer a nice feel. And so who is this bike for? This bike is for everybody, really. And with the 26-inch wheels, it might sort of fly in the face of what some people think as a must-have, which is a smaller back wheel and a lower deck height. And while that does help somewhat, it's not the end of the world. And the smaller back wheel can also just affect the way the bike feels. In this case, with this bike with dual 26-inch wheels, it really just feels like a regular bike. It doesn't feel like bigger. You might find the weight is a little bit higher, but from a daily rideability, that dual 26-inch wheels just eats bumps alive and rolls really nice. And especially when you get into rougher conditions, or perhaps you're going to ride in winter, those bigger sized wheels definitely handle winter conditions better than a smaller sized wheel. So enough talking, let's go ride this thing and we'll check it out. All right, off on a little pedal here. So how can I describe the ride quality to this bike? Well, I'll start with the handlebars. Right away, this bike has, I'm going to say, a hybrid or city bike kind of feel to it with these fairly straight handlebars. The stem has quite a bit of adjustment as well, so it's one of those stems that you can sort of set it and forget it and adjust the amount of rise that you're looking for. The positioning is, yeah, kind of like a hybrid bike or a city bike. It just feels really easy, natural. If anything, I feel like the cockpit, I'm 5'7" on a good day, and I'd say that the cockpit on this is somewhere in the middle. It's not as short as some other bikes that I've ridden, and it also doesn't feel like you have as much reach. You don't have to reach as far to get to the handlebars. I think if I owned this bike, I would probably change the handlebars to something that would have a bit more sweep back. Looking at these bars, they look like they're maybe 12 or 15 degrees of sweep back. I personally prefer something more in the 25 degrees sweep back range, so I'd probably change that. But honestly, not much else. It feels, oh, and the saddle. You know, saddles are personal, but this saddle feels pretty hard. The shape is okay, but it's pretty hard. If I had one thing I would ask Yuba to do would maybe be to spec their bikes with a Cella Royale saddle that would have some gel in it, because those are pretty good. They're really comfortable. So we're gonna do a nice tight turn on the pathway here, which is incredibly easy to do with such a tight wheelbase. Again, feeling kind of like a normal bike. The 26-inch wheels roll really nice. The one thing I'm blown away by, the bike feels so smooth, so nice. Very premium ride experience. Very solid, you know, maybe a bit rigid, but I think once you've got a load on board, that's gonna be nothing but a good thing. The steering damper in the front here means that the front end doesn't ever have like any shimmy. There's no speed wobble or any kind of stuff that happens. That's pretty great. It's a very neutral position, easy to look around. I feel really natural on this bike. The shifting duties on the Shimano 10-speed Q stuff is impeccable, works amazing, no complaints there. Very, very powerful brakes. Can haul ourselves down to a stop real quick. Oh, wrong gear. There we go again. This thing is great. All right, so some thoughts and some comparables. So riding this bike, it actually feels in a way kind of not that much different than my Surly skid loader, which is nothing but a compliment. Solid, capable. I think if you wanted to put this bike into kind of like off-road touring kind of world, I would just change the bars and the stem into something that's a bit more mountain bike capable, and you'd be in business. The other bike it feels a lot like, actually two bikes it feels a lot like, would be the Boda Boost cargo line and the Boda 46er with the CX motor. Though the Boda 46er can only accommodate one child on the back, not two. So in a sense, I think that the for pricing, if you're looking at the price of those bikes, that the Yuba wins out in that direct head-to-head. The Boda Boost cargo line on paper is a little less expensive, but also doesn't come with that big, robust double kickstand we can see there, or skirt guards, or an in-tube battery. So, you know, it's going to be close to those bikes in terms of its capability. The Boda Boda is a very premium bike. You know, its price indicates that it's not an inexpensive machine. But if you want a bike that is going to give you years and years of use, you want a bike that is really durable, really rugged, capable of maybe doing some e-bike packing, short distance e-bike packing, because it's not set up for dual battery. But if you wanted something that could bang around on your local trails, as well as bring the kids to school and do all your groceries, the Boda Boda is worth a look at. This particular one is our shop demo. You're welcome to come by if you're in Calgary and check it out. It should be hanging around and bookable for a test ride. All Yuba bikes are available through us as well, and we will have video coming of both the Fast Track and the new Spicy Curry, which is new in the sense that it's new this year, but new to us. And so we'll have those videos coming soon. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed our Boda Boda coverage. Less of a bike review and more of a bike check, but certainly a bike that's worth considering if you're in the midtail market and looking for something that isn't a small wheel bike. Regarding wheels, one thing that we didn't talk about was 26-inch wheels versus maybe 24 versus maybe 20. You know, again, a lot of this is going to depend on the rider. It's going to depend on where you're riding. But for my money, normal tire size, 26-inch, 27.5. Those are wheels and tire sizes that are readily available, but also when we get into rougher condition, or let's say winter, those tire sizes work really, really well in rougher condition. 20-inch wheels do okay too, and 24s are fine. But when you get into the smaller wheels and you get into maybe deeper snow condition or rougher terrain, they're a little rougher ride, or a little tougher to navigate in kind of rough conditions. And so a lot of the difference in wheel sizes is going to depend on what you're looking for. You know, in the midtail space and longtail space, you know, the idea of a smaller wheel can allow to get the deck height lower. And that does matter when you've got bigger loads on top, like a couple of kids, but don't let that just be the kind of the final decision. You know, it's just one thing to consider, and doing a test ride really matters. And so bringing up test rides, you know, at our shop, you can borrow this bike for the weekend. We could set it up for you to carry a couple kids on the back, and you can decide for yourself how it feels. And you can do that with all of our cargo bikes. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the Yuba Boda Boda. We'll see you next time.